I don't know what people would think if they ever saw what she looked like before all that.
That's my team, Sarah. I call them my team.
We're
you're
on.
Please,
I didn't
please
realize
respect my team.
We're on.
Put some respect on their name, Sarah. Come on.
And let's
squad.
There's a cat right here. So, oh no, you don't pick this cat up. No, I'll bleed.
If we're being honest, there is a dog lying over there that I'm just counting on being lazy enough to never make a noise, but you never know. So he may make an appearance. Hey everybody, it's Debatable. I was kidding about Mina. She rolls out of bed looking like that. Not a hair out of place. She's Mina Kimes. That's Spencer Hall, to answer the person on Twitter who said, "Who is that man?" in all caps. He is part of the mix over here at Debatable, which is a show where we don't really debate things. And it's kind of a show and where I try to avoid cursing. Probably. Hey, Alabaster, what's the big topic of the day?
Our first trending topic. Do the Eagles have a chance against Tom Brady?
Yes, Thursday night football. I'd like to start this conversation by reminding everybody of the last time Tom Brady played on a short week. It was against, who was it? It's so hard. It was the Bears. That's right. And then he forgot how many downs there were. That's right. And then they lost to Nick Foles and the Bears. So I don't know if it's a pattern after just once. That's usually not how they're established, but I'd like to think so. I'd like to think that the Bears broke him on a short week. Will the same happen to Tom Brady and the Bucs against the Eagles, Mina?
How did you pigeonhole the Bears?
It's amazing.
Their one glorious moment from last year into a conversation about Tom Brady in 2021.
Mitch Trubisky was the MVP of the playoffs, the Nickelodeon Most Valuable Player. So let's not say it was the only.
That's a great point. That's a great point. If you need to get some Advil after that reach, Sarah, you feel free to go grab some. Let's hit the football side of this. So I don't think they're gonna.
Matt Nagy, nice.
Does Alex
be there tonight?
Producer just keeps that on hand to torture. No, get the Bears out. We're not talking about the Bears right now. That's weird. All right, we're talking about the Eagles and Brady. Spencer, I'll kind of go first from just the matchup. I don't think they're going to win, but I do think there are aspects of this game that can make it more interesting than it seems at first glance. One is, of course, it's Thursday night. It's crazy. There's a lot of injuries on the Bucs side. Gronk is still out. I think that's meaningful. Although it didn't look meaningful last week, I still think he is very important for Tom Brady, especially working in the middle of the field. And then on the other side of the ball, Levante David, who is their best linebacker, particularly in coverage, and Antoine Winfield Jr., their excellent safety, are both out. Also some cornerback injuries. So I think for the Eagles, it comes down to a couple things. Can they have a effective short passing game? Because you can't run on the Bucs. Vita Vea, our Lord and Savior, exists still, and he is healthy. And then on the other side of the ball, Javon Hargrave has been an absolute monster for Philly this year. And you guys know if there's one thing Tom Brady does not love, it is an interior pass rush. Spencer?
I don't know. I mean, I think it seems like two teams whose styles really could break either way because Philly is so good against the pass and because I think they can keep the ball and slow things down with Jalen Hurts. If they have an injured linebacker and if they have an injured safety, that's who you go after. And one way to make them very uncomfortable, I know, with Vita Vea just mobbing in the middle and taking up the space that three men normally occupy, you still might be able to read him a little bit. You still might be able to take him out with doubles. You still might be able to at least slow him down. I know it's talking about like slowing down a tsunami, okay? But you can't work through him, but you might be able to work around him a little bit in the run game. Against the Panthers, the Eagles were sort of nibbling away at the defense. And they tried, their short pass game was, like 5 yards, 6 yards per completion. I think that's how they do it. Keep the ball away from them, slow it down. Football's fun because it can go fast and pretty, or it could be super slow and ugly. Philly wants a super slow and ugly game here.
Well, one of the things that's tough, though, for the Eagles is that they want to slow it down and keep the ball out of Tom Brady's hands. They would have to be able to establish the run, and that's just probably not going to happen. We've heard criticism all year of them not using Miles Sanders enough. We've heard chants for run the ball. This is not the week to do that. As Mina pointed out, the Bucs have the top rushing defense in the league. What they're most sensitive at is the secondary. So instead of sitting back and trying to play a game where you try to play ball control, I think they need to get aggressive offensively. I think Jalen Hurts needs to try to cut them up in the secondary, even if it doesn't mean time of possession, because they're not going to be able to beat them by trying to defensively stop Tom Brady. If you think that Tom Brady, because of the speed of which he's getting the ball out this year, is just going to dink and dunk you down, if you sit in the little zone, he will. But guess what? They also lead the league in pass plays over 20 yards. So he's going to crush you deep if you try to sit and pick your, like, he's going to get his. And we saw this Eagles team give up, what, 40 plus points to the Cowboys and who was the other team that they just got rolled by? The only way for them to succeed, in my opinion, is to actually play the opposite of what you'd expect, which is get aggressive on offense.
Spencer, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Jalen Hurts, because obviously one of the more unique college careers of any quarterback. It comes in the NFL last year, mixed results. Watching him this year, I've actually struggled to pin down whether I think he should be there starting. Not this year, obviously he should this year, but like, I see a guy who I do believe has developed as a passer when I watch him. And yet there's still a little bit of inconsistency there in terms of down-to-down accuracy. Like, I guess having watched him in college at both Alabama and Oklahoma, do you think he's improved? And then do you think he's improved enough?
Yeah, I mean, an extraordinary college player because he was a playoff QB for 2 teams. Yeah. And the only person he lost his job to was Tua Tagovailoa. That is, you know, if you've got to lose out, that's the guy you want to lose to. The thing that I think about him in the pros to this point, I don't know if it takes a while for a coaching staff to get to know a player and for them to really figure out how he works with specific players and how they're going to work with him. It just doesn't feel like they trust him as a passer. I know, I agree. I think he's developed as a thrower as well. I think he's really, really improved in terms of coverage reads. I just don't think Philly trusts him yet. I don't think the staff trusts him yet. So, and they also might be on this particular part of the curve. All right. If you are a run first, pass second QB, you in the NFL learn to be a balanced QB or a pass first QB. They might have gone too far in terms of moving away from his legs, in terms of making him more of a passer, and they might have to ease back a little bit. You can always simplify. You really can, especially if you have a defense you can lean on. You know, that's a nice luxury that Philly has because they can put pressure on the other sides of the ball, and maybe they're okay with punting more than they usually might. I think right now he's at a really curious developmental spot, and I think a really critical one because, you know, could go up from here or he could be benched.
Speaking of quarterbacks who are developing, I'd like to read you guys some information, and I want to hear both of your reactions. This is from Andre Weingarten at EA, so they do the Madden. I'm not sure. It's a tweet. I'm not sure. Well, Charlie posted it. What to make of this. So here's some numbers regarding 44-year-old Tom Brady. He has the longest air distance pass this year. He has the fastest pass thrown this year, and he has hit his fastest top speed of the NGS era. How does that strike you guys?
The last one being with his legs?
Yeah.
Well, okay, that one I can't explain. Like that one, that one I can't explain. The other ones I would say, like, it's not, first of all, we have to suspend disbelief on everything because Tom Brady is doing things we could never imagine someone his age. But also last year, what we saw was a really clear and definitive growth from him within that Arians offense. This Bucs team didn't look all that scary early in the season. It wasn't until about halfway through when it finally felt like they were clicking. And we've seen plenty of people, Jameis Winston included, in that Bruce Arians offense that make mistakes that end up, you know, if the read isn't quite there, it's a dramatic fail instead of, you know, maybe some other offenses. But once it clicked, ooh boy. So now this, to me, his age, which I don't know how we do that, is the natural progression of him continuing to feel more and more comfortable in a system that Bruce Arians has designed perfectly for him.
Don't eat tomatoes. It's that simple. Like everybody can sort of get nightshades. Just to avoid, allegedly. Thank you, allegedly. But yeah, I'd go ahead, prescribe it because I don't have any other explanations for that. Other than 3 is a lie. That's wrong. I'm just not going to believe it. You can show it to me as many times as you like. I reject it.
What are they? The tallest midget, right? Like how slow was he?
Let's see. What
Maybe
is it?
he
16...
like tripped and his body was moving. Faster.
Everybody
gravity was moving him instead of his legs.
Everybody got upset last year when Next Gen Stats, which is what's being cited here, reported that Daniel Jones hit the top speed of any quarterback in 2020 on that one run where he tripped at the end. And this, of course, incited much fury because people were like, "There's no way he's faster than Lamar Jackson." Yo, Daniel Jones can scoot. Put some respect on dual threat Danny's name.
Very different though, because Tom Brady cannot scoot. And if I remember correctly, the most fascinating stat last year was something about he had not averaged like a yard on on any of his runs. Like he'd average less than 1 yard on all of his runs. Yeah, that last one.
He
That
did.
last one, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the catapult that
ask
they
you-
launch aircraft carriers off of? That's how he hit it. There's one in the middle of the field. They put
Yeah.
him on it, and
They
that's
actually
how he
shot him
retained
out of that
speed.
Buccaneers cannon. He was in the cannon on that ship.
Boom.
It
Yeah.
just,
We
the
did
cameras cut away.
a little heat map or like a scatter plot of all of his dropbacks last year compared to Patrick Mahomes, and it looked like Ben Simmons shot chart, you know, like with all the dots are like so concentrated
Yeah.
in one place, it just looks like one
Mhm.
giant dot.
Thank you for somehow involving Ben Simmons in a show that we were finally going to go without talking
That's,
about.
that's all
Thank
I
you,
got.
Mina
That's all I
Kimes.
got. That's
Beautiful.
all I
We
got
need
on
one
Ben.
of those. It's been this many days since we talked about Ben Simmons. Back to 0. Thank you, Mina. Hey, real quick before we move on from this topic, it's a 4-1 record for the Bucs. They have obviously had a tremendous amount of success. Get the hell out of here, Ben. What did you see in the one Bucs loss that the Eagles could take anything from tonight?
Aaron Donald? Do they? But I do
they
want to say,
have one of those?
I think Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox combined playing on the inside. This is the kind of defense that does give Tom Brady a hard time. Generally, they remember from the Super Bowl. So I would say that's what I saw. Interior pass rush. Granted, the Rams have significantly better players in their secondary than Philadelphia does, aside from Darius Slay. And then on the other side of the football, like the Rams offense and Eagles offense aren't really comparable. But I would say that interior pass rush is what was key and could be key tonight.
Hey, don't forget
And
Derek
we're
Barnett.
saying-
Yep, Derek Barnett as well.
Derek Barnett, the amazing Iron Turtle. I have never seen a player who looked slower and ended up in more right places than Derek Barnett. He is a miracle.
All right, so the end answer to this question is, nah, not really.
How dare you? It's Thursday Night Football.
Probably won't win, though.
It's the next question.
All right, our next trending topic. Kyrie Irving finally spoke last night and made it clear he is not retiring. But do you see Kyrie ever playing for Mina's Nets again?
I forgot that Mina's a bandwagoner on the
Yeah.
Nets and also the Mercury. We were in the
We'll
middle
get
of
to that.
watching a tremendous WNBA Finals game, which we'll get to later last night, and people kept trying to send me clips of Kyrie. And I was like, no, I'm watching basketball, really good basketball. I don't need to see an IG live of a word salad or whatever that term is. It's Latin. It's like the words you put in place to like show formatting before you actually fill in an article, ipsum, etsum, or something like
yeah.
that. Anyway, that's basically Kyrie talking. And what I heard was the same thing I always hear. A guy who thinks he's smarter than everyone else in the room, a guy who thinks there's a depth to what he's saying that isn't there. And frankly, we talked about this yesterday, Spencer, so I don't want to rehash it. What I will say is if you're Kyrie and you truly believe that you're standing up for anyone, then have an actual sit-down conversation with somebody else to rebut the things you're saying, to bring in the facts that we talked about yesterday, the disproportionate number of Black men who are dying from this, the disproportionate number of people who are losing their jobs because of it. Not just that, though. We all get it. He's going to lose a lot of money, and he's going to act like that doesn't matter to him. And eventually, I do feel like he's going to give it. I think this was one little step towards him inching closer and closer to finally saying, I got accomplished what I wanted. Now I'm just going to be a part of my team. I managed to say what I needed to. I proved my point when you didn't. I feel like everything he says is empty. Every stance he claims to be taking, every stand he
On this
claims to be
issue.
making is empty on this issue,
yeah.
unless he actually sits down and talks to someone and allows a conversation with a back and forth where he has to answer to the actual facts, which is, guess what? 500,000 people dying are all people who don't have jobs either. All of the people that you claim to be supporting who are going against vaccine mandates and are losing their jobs because of it are a tiny percentage compared to the people who are sick and in hospitals and dying. And he's not answering to that because he's only allowing himself to do IG lives where he talks to himself.
Yeah, I don't really yeah, and people get over a lot for money. You'll get over a lot for 200 mil. You really will, right? If you're very concerned about the people who might be affected by opting out of any vaccine mandate, write a check.
Yeah.
Go take some of that 200 mil and write a check. That's what I'd say to anybody who's like, I am down for the cause. Cool. Show it. Write a check if that's what you really feel. Otherwise, get on with it.
That's a great point about that amount of money and what you could potentially do with it. Although there's definitely better things that you could do with it. Okay, multiple questions and kind of facets of this. I'll get to the Nets question later on, which was the original question was, is he going to play for the Nets? I think we have to hit the IG Live. the reason we're talking about it is that he went on Instagram. And Sarah, I think you make a really good point about the absence of questioning. You know, people hate the media these days. There are some legitimate reasons to be upset with coverage, commentary, in every field, not just sports. But what you saw from Kyrie is why there's a need for an independent media, why it's valuable to have people being asked questions when they take meaningful public stances. Because when that's not there, when no one's pushing back, when no one's asking questions, and I'm not talking about hating or going personal, I'm asking like very clear, simple questions. You get what you got last night, which is a whole lot of nothing. I mean, simultaneously, he's saying that he's not getting vaccinated. He never explains why, by the way. So this idea, it was conveyed via someone else yesterday. He's not anti-science. Well, yeah, you are if you're not getting vaccinated at this point.
Right.
He never addresses that. He does say that he's opposed to vaccine mandates. And I think if there was another person in the room who was allowed to talk to him, I'll just say what I would say, which is, Kyrie, like, vaccine mandates are literally as old as the Revolutionary War, man. Like, when soldiers were getting smallpox, we all got, I'm not the first person to say this, we all have got vaccinated at various points in our lives to do things, to participate in society, because vaccines protect us from each other. They are about a social compact. And I think that's what's so frustrating about this is, like, we're rebutting a guy who's unwilling to be rebutted. And so it's like we're talking to a wall and he's talking to a wall on this issue. Now, as far as the Nets and whether or not he's actually going to play, I actually think he is, because I agree with both Spencer and Sarah. Like, I think at some point he's just going to somehow find a way to claim a W on this issue and opt back in. That's speculation. That's total speculation on my part. I think the team obviously is the most dominant team in the NBA with him. I think they're still a really good team without him. And I think both Kevin Durant and James Harden are probably tired of this as well.
Right. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of conversation about KD obviously needing to sign off on this for it to go through, even though the higher ups at the Nets have assured us that this decision was made solely by them. It's clear that KD needed to be a part of the definitive statement to Kyrie. You will not be participating in a halfway sense. And that was a clear directive that they needed to make, because you just can't have that halfway participation and set that kind of precedent. I do think we all think he's going to play for the Nets again. What's interesting is not just the money that he's missing now, but the fact that what felt like a surety, which was that contract that he was going to sign moving forward, because he's almost done with it, he's done after this season, is now very much in question. And I think his behaviors over the next couple months will decide not just how this season goes, but whether or not this is a big three that will continue to try to fight for a championship in the coming years, or if the Nets say, listen, we love KD. And that's going to be a huge part of it too, is whether or not KD says, I'm not sticking around unless Kyrie sticks around, regardless of all the drama. What's going to happen? Another pandemic, and then of course something terrible and weird will happen, like the earth will be flat again or something, and we'll have to go through this whole again.
Imagine being KD, just again, like, you just signed this big deal with this dude who, like, you made your own in deal with. You said, hey, we're good friends, we're amongst the best basketball players on the planet, let's play basketball together, and then I'm Kevin Durant and I'm going to stay here for many years. To have this happen, it must be so deeply annoying.
We talked about this yesterday,
like, on
Mina.
every level.
Not just annoying, but like a guy who cared as much about his legacy to leave the Warriors and Steph Curry, in part because he couldn't handle being accused of being a cupcake and of joining a team, now ends up going somewhere where it's going to be a complete tangle again if he cannot remove himself from the narrative around Kyrie. Yes, Alabaster King.
Okay. One extra piece of information. Shams was reporting this morning that there is actually a potential trade market for Kyrie. Could you see someone pulling the trigger and trading for him? And could you see Brooklyn actually trading him?
No, because here's the thing, and there is a possibility, but I think Wendy really summed this up very well yesterday morning. Brian Windhorst, he said the problem with a trade is you run the risk of other states deciding to implement similar things with a guy that you are picking up who does not have years remaining on his deal. You are already giving up whatever it takes to get Kyrie for an expiring contract. You're not guaranteed to have him after, so there's no guarantee that he wants to sign with you. And you're doing it during a tumultuous time wherein the state that you trade for him in might adopt
But-
these same rules. And then what if you're playing in the playoffs? I mean, I think if you're a visiting player, it doesn't have the same rules, but like you're setting yourself up for the possibility of getting stuck in the same situation.
Sarah, I don't want to interrupt you or kind of get in the way of your opinion, but I don't know if you watched the IG Live. The pandemic is over. Kyrie said
that's right.
we're coming
okay,
out of
cool.
it.
That's
So just FYI.
Yeah.
I thought you were just going to say there are teams in Texas or Florida or other places that you could be
Hey,
pretty
Ted-
assured
Ted-
that
Ted
they're
Cruz
not
is
gonna be
recruiting.
I mean,
passing mandates anytime soon.
Is that tampering? Can we catch a senator for tampering? That would be amazing if the only rule that applied to any senator ever
Yeah.
was an NBA
Was
tampering rule.
tampering.
This
Yeah.
is, by the way, like Katie has to feel like this is the college roommate situation where like, hey, we're going to move out of the dorms. It's going to be sick. It's going to be great. Everything's going to be totally perfect in our way. And all of a sudden you show up and Kyrie is the roommate with too many candles. You're
Yeah.
like, this,
No,
you
candles,
have far
No,
too many
oh.
candles.
He cooks crab every night and leaves it in the regular trash can.
No, crab isn't vegan. It's got to be something weird where like you can't keep
forgot.
your stuff in the same fridge because
That's
of his
true.
beliefs. It's got to be something
Yeah.
weird and obstreperous like that.
Oh my God.
I need you to respect his space and his personal opinion. I need
Katie.
you to respect his decision on
I
this.
just can't wait for like the personal essay from Katie on Medium about like worst the
Yeah.
roommate from hell. I
Players
moved to New
Tribune.
York
Yeah.
and I ended up with the
it'll
roommate
be,
from hell.
It'll be whatever that Reddit is, whatever AMIT.
Oh, AITA. Yeah,
Oh,
AITA. Yeah.
Am I the
Bleep hole, yeah.
anyway?
Katie, you're not.
quickly-
It's the other guy. FYI. Just to be
Laundry.
clear.
Slight tangent, short tangent. Hey, real quick though, do you guys agree though? I think that the trade is really risky if you don't have him
Yeah.
guaranteed to come back the year after, and you run the risk of rules across the country potentially changing in the same way.
That's totally fair and true, but as a Nets fan, a Nets super fan, pardon me,
I'm
I'm
so
very
sorry.
I'm very open to it.
Ooh, that reminds me, really quick. Okay, so you know how Mina's like a super fan, and they ended up using her in like the Nets playoff video, like Mina Kimes, Nets super fan. So this is a Jim laundry tangent. I was at the Raiders-Bears game. Look how I brought the Bears back into this the other day in Vegas. And my husband pointed out that during the pregame hype video for the Raiders, they use Mina's voice. The video is all about the Raiders not getting enough respect. And it's Mina Kimes saying, they're like a wild card team at best. They're definitely not anywhere near the top of the division. So Mina's voice is, and I said to him, I go, how long into the season before the Raiders stop being a team that you need to give any respect to, and they stop running that particular preview? And I was like, it was that day. I don't know that you can run any videos about respecting that franchise right now. So Mina might be off the hook there.
What a rare W for me, by the way. Rare W for you, girl. I'm just, that story warms my heart, and that was an opinion I expressed on First Take.
That's where they found it.
Oh, what is this?
There we go. There we go.
Anyway, next
else.
topic.
I think I made that.
You did?
No, I think I was the one who made that. Yeah.
No way.
It's out of your control
Favorite.
now, Spencer. You let it into the universe, and it's been you.
It belongs.
Thank you for creating that.
Speaking
All right,
of
our
name, image,
final-
and likeness.
Our final trending topic. What's more interesting, Oklahoma going with Caleb Williams or the way the story broke?
The way it broke. The way
take it away,
it broke.
Spencer.
Tell us.
Because it's not shocking that Caleb Williams is getting the starting job because Spencer Rattler's struggles have been the story of OU's entire season. He's a little bit speculative as a quarterback, cavalier, one might say, in the non-Virginia sense, in that he sees a window and tries to throw a couch through it. That sometimes happens. Caleb Williams is the more steady product there. He helped them win against Texas in the Red River rivalry. He's the obvious pick at this point if OU has any ambitions beyond just beating Texas. However, the way this story broke, it was reported by OU Daily, who saw Caleb Williams taking snaps with the first team. All right. By the way, this is the student newspaper of the University of Oklahoma. Great job, y'all. The kids are great. The kids are fine. They did this by reporting from a balcony. And then Lincoln Riley. Public building, right, for the team that is in a public university, right? They reported it. Lincoln Riley had a fit, shut off all media availability. And when this came out, and they were like, yeah, they were on like a balcony reporting it. All these, like, this veteran OU reporter who's been on the Sooner beat forever and has a newsletter was like, hey man, yeah, here's the balcony. We just sit up here all the time. It's totally cool.
Gosh. Yeah,
I love it.
How in the student newspaper they took great pains to point out that they were viewing from a public building and that OU had never created any concern or complaints about their viewing. And I was like, yeah, you have to write that, because otherwise we assume that you were doing it to be sneaky, when in fact they didn't know you were up there. They just had no idea that you were looking from up there until they figured. Yeah. So also, by the way, is there a better name than Spencer Rattler?
Yes, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Kool-Aid McKinstry, who plays for Alabama.
Oh,
look it up. It's on the roster list. Kool-Aid McKinstry.
With a K.
Yeah, with a K and a dash, or it's got the hyphen, so it's Kool-Aid.
Okay, that wins.
McKinstry.
But Spencer Rattler sounds like any number. Sounds like a tremendous quarterback. Sounds like a tremendous adult film star. Sounds like a tremendous bounty hunter. Sounds like a tremendous circus performer. Like, it's so versatile. I love the name. I do think that it's more interesting how this came out and the frustration that it caused to be viewing from a balcony of a public building. But also, Caleb Williams, I'm interested in your take, Spencer, because I do feel like you're right. Obviously, he's a steadier presence, but we also get so fired up about the guy that comes in that we don't know as much about. Caleb Williams is like every backup quarterback in the NFL that hasn't already proved himself to be useless somewhere else. We get so fired up about how much better they would be. And it did seem like play calling changed when Caleb Williams came in. Is that sustainable? Or is it something that now they have to add more to the playbook? Now he looks a little bit less, steady and consistent. And now we redo this whole thing all over again.
First of all, Sarah, Geno Smith is absolutely going to shred. So
I know, right?
Right? Don't come at my Seahawks.
It was like when Marcus Mariota came in and we were like, oh, we all forgot he's the greatest.
And then like another game. Yeah. Spencer, I want to hear your thoughts on Caleb Williams, but just watching it myself, obviously the dual threat ability jumps out, and that's something that Lincoln Riley's worked with in the past. We were just talking about Jalen Hurts earlier. So I think that gives them a floor, don't you, in terms of their offense? That's kind of was missing. Like Spencer is what you combine Spencer and Rattler. Yeah, he was so high variance
together.
Yeah,
with himself.
It's like a couple name, of always first and last name. He was so high variance. He was so all over the place. And Williams, again, he's a bit of an unknown quantity. He's a complete unknown quantity. So I don't know if he can actually protect the football. But his rushing ability makes this offense so much more dynamic that I agree with you. It seems if Oklahoma does want to contend for the playoffs, as they should and can at this point, thanks to college football descending into total chaos last week, I feel like they got to ride the hot hand.
Well, and hot hand matters from a lot of different angles, too. We were just talking about Jalen Hurts, where, it feels like he's being managed and controlled, right? Sarah was like, okay, they should really let him loose in the passing game. Is that what they can do? Is that what the personality of the team is? Are they capable of doing that? And does everyone around them have the confidence? We talk a lot about who they give a spark. That sounds like a cliche, and sometimes it is, but a lot of the time it just means we can relax. We feel a little more confident. The play caller feels like things are going to be open. The offensive line doesn't have to worry about them bailing out of a clean pocket. Everybody gets more relaxed, and you just get to get a fresh start, and there's more potential out there just in terms of not worrying about what the next play might be.
I think I agree with you. I think those are two different things. So I think there's the relaxation and the confidence that comes with feeling like the guy you got under center brings something. There's also that, again, that guy's got a spark. It feels different. To me, is mystery. It's the same as dating. It's not necessarily that they do really have a tremendous aura, that even if they sucked, they would still walk in with that aura. As soon as we find out they suck, suddenly we're like, oh, they don't have the spark anymore. No, it's the same exact guy. We just didn't know yet what they could do. Because I was actually listening to a podcast that was entirely about this OU transfer, this Spencer versus Caleb. The way they talked about Caleb Williams was like, one of the leads from The Bachelor walked in and just dazzling good looks. What a stud. It just feels so different. And I just feel like a lot of times that's just mystery. That's just us applying to someone all the expectations we have for them if they're the absolute best version of what they could be. And we just haven't seen them not be that yet.
There is an important factor here, too, by the way. All those numbers you saw, they came against Texas. Right?
Yes.
They came against Texas. That next game's going to be against TCU.
And a team
that's a much uglier game.
Plan for you. team that didn't plan for you, a team that didn't game plan for you at all, didn't know you were going to be in there. That's very different. Also, I propose another tangent because Mina Kimes was once a tremendous investigative reporter, and she was on the beat of exposing financial wrongdoings and such. And I'm curious if you have any stories or locations similar to a balcony of a public building where you did your sleuthing.
I would never reveal neither my sources nor my locations, but I will say this is less about when I was an investigative reporter, but just when I was a features writer for ESPN, profiling athletes. I had to go to extreme measures at times just to get access to them. Because these days, more than ever, professional athletes are so cloistered, and this kind of cuts to the Kyrie thing, right? Their teams, much like my team, they really protect them. One thing that I remember just jumps out of my mind was I did a story on Luka Doncic back, Tyler O'Hara's peer. Well, we'll get to that.
Yes,
back when I was in Spain, and I just hadn't gotten the interview yet, and so this is maybe doesn't make me look right, but he drove a Porsche Panamera they call, and he was leaving practice and getting in the car, and I just got into the car, and I just was like, hey, can I get a ride? And I ended up spending like a half an hour with him in his car because I needed the interview, and I'd been in Spain for 3 days.
That's amazing. I've done that before, but it's just when I thought something was my Uber, and then it wasn't. It was just
like
a person
reporting.
driving.
She could have called that. She could have been like, sorry. I thought my Uber was a Panamera.
Exactly. I thought I had a really good Uber today. All right, Alabaster King, what's the next story?
All right, guys, it is time to play a game.
Okay.
And the game is Who Done It?
Okay.
We'll give you a quote. You guys have a minute to come together as a quorum and tell us who done it. Our first quote. Don't suck on defense like I did in the first game. That was honestly my biggest thing. Just not hugging my man. When I'm out hugging on the perimeter and not in the paint, I'm just dead weight out there. And your choices are A, Brittany Griner, B, Candace Parker, C, the GOAT, Diana Taurasi, or D, Allie Quigley.
I'm gonna bust that down to A or B. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a big, because you would not call yourself dead weight on the perimeter. You're not a big. That wasn't a minute.
That wasn't a minute.
It sounds like someone saying, well, answering a question like, what was the difference between the first game and the second game?
And we know Candace.
Yes, so it'd be a Phoenix.
Game one.
So
I think it's Brittany. And also it sounds like Brittany would talk like that much more. Although, yeah, I'm gonna go with. I think we should go with Brittany.
Why is he crossing out? Yeah, I'll go with Brady too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does sound like something Diana would say too, though.
as a lifelong Mercury fan, as of last night,
Mina?
what a W, Spencer. How did you feel?
Well, I'm trying to decide because I'm torn because I'm torn between Chicago and Phoenix in general, right?
Explain.
Because
Yes.
because one, I grew up with Chicago was my big city. I grew up in Nashville. So if you grew up in Nashville, all the stories out of Nashville were like, oh, there was a chicken loose on Lower Broad and we captured it. And then you'd watch WGN after watching Cubs games, right? And they'd come on, and Chicago had the craziest news. They would be like, car crashes into the 10th story of a building. You're like, awesome. This place sounds fantastic. So I want to root for Chicago. Chicago also has Candace Parker, who, I have loved since she was on the Vols, fantastic. But then again, Phoenix, I'm a Sunbelt partisan, right? And Phoenix, I'm a good chains person. Phoenix has all the good chains.
Yes.
But then
Every
Wait,
chain.
most of the Phoenix chains are basically Chicago. They took Portillo's. They took Lou Malnati's. They have a whole bar there called what's it called? Something Chicago, Old Chicago. It's just all the snowbirds that flew out to Arizona and then requested all the things they love about Chicago to be out there.
Okay. I have a lot. So I know we're joking about me being bandwagon Mercury fan. That's 100% true.
No, we're being serious. You're a bandwagoner.
Yeah, I'm a bandwagoner. But as I was watching, and I found myself watching. So for those who don't know, the Mercury won 91-86
It was
in
an
overtime.
insane game in overtime.
Nail biter. Yeah, so I made my decision in the final 2 minutes of the game before overtime.
Good.
Pardon me.
Oh, you picked the winner. What a surprise.
No, it was tied. It was knotted up with 2 minutes. This is what we're talking about. The game was so tense. It was so awesome. While Kyrie was doing his nonsense, the rest of us were watching an incredible basketball game, and I was watching, and I was like, what is in my heart right now? What do I want to happen? Sometimes you don't actually know until you're watching a sports event what you want. And I realized I was like, you know what? I actually want Phoenix to take this. One, because I just wanted this series to go long. It's an awesome series. And I think that, Sarah, you would agree with that. Is a good thing for everyone. More basketball is great as they head back to
except for
Chicago.
me, because I have tickets to Friday, and if they'd won, then they could have clinched while I was in the building. But
okay,
anyway,
so
carry on.
Personally for you, I guess it is not ideal. But also, I think a combination of a few things. One, many people don't know, I lived in Arizona from 8th grade until graduation. I lived in a million places before then. So I'm basically Phoenix. I have ties to the town.
Yes.
So there's that. By the way, Phoenix is every chain, not just Chicago chains. Literally every chain
all
on
of
Earth.
them.
So like,
All
don't
of them.
be literally
because
every chain.
they don't have their own identity.
Your chain.
That's
the
right.
chains
So they
have-
got all
yeah.
the chains.
Yeah, it's like they built from the ground up and took the best out of everywhere.
I don't want to rip on Phoenix. I like Phoenix. I go there every year for spring training.
I did a story on Skylar Diggins-Smith and Skylar Diggins 5 or 6 years ago, so I have a rooting interest there. And then 3, and I was thinking this at the end when she did her post game. Diana Taurasi's just so cool.
Diana Taurasi is so cool.
She's the coolest
It's
person.
very hard to root against Diana Taurasi, but I can because obviously my team is playing, and also Candace Parker is very cool as well. But Mina, I would think if you were watching that game in the waning minutes and trying to decide what would have moved you was Courtney Vandersloot.
I know.
Tiny point guard with insane handles with seconds to go on the clock, driving in among the trees and flipping it past a 6'9" Brittany Griner, who's more than a foot taller than her. I would think you would find in her the spirit of one feisty and scrappy Mina.
I'm not looking for myself in professional sports. I'm looking for my physical opposite. And so Brittany Griner, I'm drawn to her as a player.
Yes, that makes sense if you're not an athlete. No offense, but I mean, if because I like watching, like, Elena Deladon's one of my favorite players because I like bigs who can handle the ball and shoot threes. Because when I played, I preferred to be more of a mobile big than like the stand in the center and shack it. So I want to see myself, because I was a great athlete, of course. You, on the other hand, should probably pick
was a
the
varsity
exact
soccer
opposite.
player, but whatever. For me, it's like a Freaky Friday thing. Like, who would I want to inhabit the body of for a day? And that's clearly Brittany Griner. Spencer, if you're right, I'm right? You'd want to be Brittany Griner for a day.
No, Taurasi is so smooth.
Well, yeah, but listen, I've never reached stuff that high on the shelves. I've never been that much taller than everybody else and able to move, right? Also, I'd have like all those like cool tats and stuff. Yeah, it's not even close. I did have a unification theory though, which is this: Chicago, hot dogs, really great food, right? Really corrupt, insane politicians from time to time, right? Traffic is awful and the weather's extreme. Phoenix, same is true of all of that. Is Phoenix just dehydrated Chicago?
I don't think that Phoenix in any way could compete with Chicago in terms of food. I'm sorry. Chicago is one of the great culinary cities in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, it can, but Chicago food is just a weapon. That's all it is. It's just...
the three of us are going to have to go to Phoenix and have freaking tacos because...
Okay. Producer interjection. Yes, Alabaster.
2 things. 1, deep dish isn't good. And then 2,
hardcore
do you guys want to find out?
Exhausting.
Do you guys want to find out who this quote's from? Yeah, I mean, deep dish is just lasagna.
You circled,
pizza.
Not even true. There's not even noodles involved. Everyone says that. You guys make no sense when you try to make these stupid comparisons.
Deep dish is like a casserole, basically.
Well, don't
deep
suck
dish
on
is
defense
tremendous, and it's
like I did first game.
Yeah.
That was honestly my biggest thing.
What a cute kid.
Just not hugging my man when I'm out hugging on the perimeter, not in the paint. Like I'm just dead weight out there.
I love the kid. Kid's like, yep, that's right. Did you guys see that clip, by the way, of Brittany sitting next to Diana Taurasi, not knowing, despite being teammates with her for years, that she speaks Spanish?
Yeah, go on.
Oh, such a good clip. So she's sitting there, and this reporter starts asking a question in Spanish, and it wasn't clear who it was to, or I guess maybe because she doesn't speak Spanish, she didn't know who it was to. And Brittany's like looking around like someone's going to stop this person and either translate or explain that they don't speak it. And then all of a sudden, Diana starts talking back to her, and she's like, what? And then she tries to pick out words. She's like, Phoenix.
That's so great.
You know?
See? Phoenix. So likable.
Find that clip. It was good. Very likable. Gonna lose.
Next question, please.
Next topic.
Okay, our next whodunit.
All right.
And the quote is, stats are for losers. You guys can have a heyday with that. All I care about is wins and losses. And your choices are
Hawk Harrelson, from the former White Sox announcer, who said the only important stat is TW, the will to win.
So your choices are A, Sarah's beloved Matt Nagy, B, Joe Judge, C, Jerry Jones, D, Matt LaFleur, or E, Stu Gatz.
It's got to be Jerry Jones, right? By the way, Joe Judge, how great was that when he was like, yeah, well, Daniel Jones is going to be able to come in and, watch us run. You won't be able to do anything physical. And then one of the reporters like, oh, by the way, he's in his pads and out there. And he's like, what? I don't even know what my own quarterback is doing.
I'm sorry. That feels like Joe Judge. That feels, that just feels like
Joe
Mississippi.
Judge, but Jerry Jones, although Jerry Jones wouldn't have reason to say that because their stats have been absurd, right?
Yeah, this feels like a Mississippi State grad, and I say that with all due affection. Yeah,
So
this is.
It
big.
also sounds like somebody who's defending not being good now, right? Matt Nagy, they just got a big win. Matt LaFleur, the Packers are fine. Jerry Jones, Cowboys look great. So I think based on that, it's probably a defensive person, and that would be Judge.
So I know this one already because it was sent to me because, as you guys can imagine, Stats Are for Losers is a personal attack at me. It is Matt LaFleur, and it is because the Packers' record does not correspond to some of the underlying statistics. I think it might have been point differential in this case. But I just want to go back to the quote. Don't throw up nerd. Don't throw up nerd.
Mina, what happened to the bridge behind you? I'm so confused.
I don't know what's going on back there. Okay. We're focused on Stats Are for Losers when the real question is, what is a heyday? A heyday. He says, you guys can have a heyday with
translated
that. No, that's what he said. I watched him do the quote.
No. Because a heyday would be Heyday, right? Like, that's a very different term than a day full of straw. A heyday. He's misusing that term.
Making hay and heyday sort of.
Make hay while the sun shines is a term. I think he's saying, like, back in my heyday, he's misusing that term.
Yeah, and then someone translated it. Yeah, right. So it's spelled Hayday. To which I ask.
That's what someone transcribed it.
Yeah,
the question is whether when
okay.
he said it in his mind, he was thinking heyday.
See, because a heyday is not a thing, and it makes me a heyday, Hay is not a thing, and
an H.
What that triggered in my mind, and this is very revealing of the fact that I was a child born in the 1980s, which is, I'm gonna go eat some hay and make some clay and lay by the bay. Happy Gilmore, Shooter McGavin.
I've only seen Happy Gilmore once. It's not my favorite. It's fine.
I'm too young to understand that. Sorry, Mina.
Wow. Ouch.
I'm much older than Mina. Much older.
Are you surprised that Matt LaFleur would say Stats Are for Losers?
Yeah.
Like a Matt LaFleur.
Not really. He's not. This is kind of his vibe.
Do you guys want to hear it?
Guys, but by the way, half of the people who say that don't believe it. Like Bill Belichick also literally verbatim said Stats for losers when everyone knows the Patriots are extremely advanced when it comes to analytics. So much of this, the anti-analytics rhetoric you hear from coaches is total posturing. So it doesn't even hurt.
I have a question. Yeah, go
ahead. Sorry. You guys can have a heyday with that. All I care about is wins and losses.
Those eyebrows, though.
Yeah. I think he just misused the phrase heyday and does not actually have anything to do with the straw-like substance on farms.
I do not like Happy Gilmore.
It's fine. It's fine. I liked it. It was fine. It wasn't my favorite. Next topic.
Movie.
All right, guys, it's time to play another game.
Ooh.
And the game is, what are the chances? We'll give you a topic. You tell us the chances.
Okay.
First one. What are the chances that you'll be watching Dodgers-Giants tonight, an actually good game, instead of the football?
Since I'm on top, I will say 30% because I'll probably flip over baseball whenever it seems interesting. But I always also DVR Thursday Night Football so that I can watch it later if I need to go back and look at something. So I would say I'll be checking in with Dodgers Giants. See my boy KB.
I'm gonna shock you guys. It's actually about 50 for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm really invested in this particular series.
Oh boy, who did you bandwagon this time, Mina?
You can't know. I'm a freaking Mariners fan. You can never call me a bandwagon baseball fan. Literally the opposite.
Two teams.
I bandwagon.
Have you decided you're a fan of?
I bandwagon excitement, Sarah. I bandwagon feuds. I love this rivalry. I love everything that it's. So I live in Los Angeles. I'm not there right now. Dodgers fans hate the Giants, and I'm like one of those who feeds off of hate or like makes you stronger. Is that
Kyrie Irving?
That was good. That was good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Spencer?
Oh, 0%. I didn't even know they were playing. Navy and Memphis
Oh,
play
boy.
tonight. 0%.
Not a baseball fan.
How's Memphis right now?
No, why would I be? Yeah, this is when somebody goes, why would I be an Atlanta Braves fan? Have you seen what the Braves do to their fans? No.
They're
It's
super fun
Absolutely
right
not.
now. They're super fun right now.
Yeah, for now. Just wait a week. Wait or two.
Well,
That poison is coming. The high might be
thought we
here,
all
but the
agreed on-
hangover is real.
The excitement of Dansby Swanson based solely on name, though.
Yeah, that's cool. I can look at his name and I can get all of the pleasure out of Dansby Swanson I need. Also, that's an Atlanta team. I don't do that because I love myself. I've seen what's happened to
Yeah,
the
we
people
talked
here.
about this yesterday with Elle.
Oh yeah.
He's going full narcotic. Spencer goes Bomani style. Kick the narcotic entirely.
No, Bomani's much smarter than I am. I am never, ever, ever investing any emotion whatsoever in an Atlanta sports team, much less a baseball team. No, sir.
Wow. Yikes.
Really didn't see these
All right.
numbers shaking out this way. It's kind of throwing me.
Neither.
Guys, ready for the next one?
Yeah.
We are.
Okay. What are the chances that LeBron knew he was spoiling Squid Game?
I haven't seen any of it, and I would tell you no spoilers, except I don't know that I ever will because I heard it's gory and sad, and I am an empath, and I can't watch TV, even if it's fake, without thinking about the real life versions, and then I get extremely upset. So I only watch stuff like Bachelor in Paradise and Top Chef and Schitt's Creek and comedies. In fact, I watched Mayor of Easttown because Mina Kimes tweeted about it so much. And after one episode, I was deeply, deeply sad, but also hooked. And then I made myself watch the entire thing in the span of 2 days so I could get it over with as quickly as possible and not spend my time deeply sad.
Crazy to me that you say you don't watch things that are gory and sad and then say you watch Bachelor in Paradise. But let's watch the clip of LeBron.
Right, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
or the Bears.
That's true, too.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending.
Oh, don't
No,
spoil it
I'm
for
gonna start
everyone.
over season 2.
Wait, don't. This is a.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh my
I don't
God,
want
you were
people to
just
get
talking
mad.
about that.
Get out of it. Get out of it. People get so mad about spoilers, Charlie.
How does he not know?
We bleeped
You
it all.
You just nearly killed hundreds of people watching this.
How do you think that LeBron, it didn't seem like he knew he was spoiled. It seemed like he was very casual, just talking to a friend, didn't even consider the fact that other people might overhear it and have it ruined.
That's how it always happens. Just yesterday, I'm on episode 6 now of Squid Game. There's, I think, 3 left or something. Anyways, so I'm on the phone with my brother yesterday who lives in Nashville, and he just casually spoiled it for me. He's like, yeah, bleep, bleep, bleep is how it ends. Oh, here you go.
I saw this, yeah. And then I like, yeah, just you being you. And then you were like, yeah, I didn't mean that in a positive way.
I didn't mean it. Spencer, I don't know if you know this, but my brother is like my Marcus. He's like my Marcus Vick, kind of.
Oh, yikes. Jesus.
Well,
Holy
my
cow,
mom.
wait, first of all, does that make you Michael Vick?
I'm just trying to do
Because
like
that's not good either.
No, I'm just trying to
That's
say, like, in terms of
problematic.
like
different example?
if in terms of like siblings who have
Arrest records?
who like to attach themselves to you. I love you, Isaac, if you're watching, but you know this is true. You've literally tweeted about the fact that you do this. You tweet at me, about me, engage with me on the internet.
Oh, so
This
your
is-
brother's
I-
obsessed with you.
No, he wants clout. He's a clout chaser.
Clout chaser, back to Bachelor in
Whereas
Paradise.
I am
He's
like
looking for
chasing
followers?
my mom's clout at all time. This is getting really weird and personal.
It's like a whole family Squid Game. I don't know what that is.
Wow.
But
Revealing
is that a good
why.
analogy?
Yeah. I don't know.
Also, Mina runs a 4-3. Did not know that.
Wow, amazing.
Well
Also-
known. Yeah.
Let's not make any Mike Vick comparisons, or Marcus for that matter. Hey, is it worth watching though, despite how awful it is?
I'm gesturing towards Spencer. You haven't watched either?
No. You see, I have children, and that means that I have seen every episode of the latest DuckTales reboot. I just watched
Paw
the
Patrol.
I just watched the Muppet Haunted Mansion special available on Disney
Ooh.
Plus. Ring that bell. And these are the things I watch, and I play wholesome video games where you shoot imaginary people.
No. You're bringing up the no. You and I have a TV show in common that is not for children. Please share with the class.
Love Island.
We
Love
love Love
Island.
Island.
Oh.
We both love.
Yeah,
Love
Love
you got
Island. The
time for
greatest, the
Love
greatest show
Island.
on the planet.
It's probably the
Sarah.
best. It's the
I tried to
best
watch
television
it
show
'cause
ever
of you,
made.
Mina, and I couldn't. I tried.
Which one did you try? What season?
Whatever Love Island last year.
Did you try? Was it American
Was
or
it
was
UK
it English?
or US?
Wait. I'm mixing it up with that other terrible thing where they couldn't have sex. They would like lose money.
Too
if
Hot
they
to
had sex.
Handle. Also an electric
Yeah.
electric show. Not as good as Love
Yeah.
Island.
You suggested it, and so I watched it, and then I hated it.
Nothing
Yeah.
Nothing
So
compares
Love Island
to
is
Love
better
Island.
than Too Hot to Handle.
Oh, Love Island's incredible. Yeah, Love Island is
Nation Island? Do you go on as a couple and then try to stay together, or is it more like Bachelor in Paradise?
absolutely not.
No, absolutely not.
No,
Bachelor in Paradise?
a bunch of single people all
Uh-huh.
thrown in. It's like 6 and 6, 6 women, 6 men, and they're thrown into a villa in Majorca usually. Although there's one season
Okay.
that they do it in South Africa, and then they have to survive the travails of coupling, recoupling,
Recoupling.
uncoupling, challenges, sinister manipulations from the producers, and also
Right.
the barrier of their own strikingly different English accents. Right?
Oh, okay.
I have
He-
friends who watch
all right.
this with the subtitles on who are native English speakers.
Can you do some of the, because Spencer, now I think you've mastered every kind of regional accent in England from watching Love Island. Can you share some of them?
Only that everyone there from Essex. It's basically the New Jersey of England.
Okay.
So they're
good to know.
incredible. All of them are extremely amped, babe. All of them at
Extremely
all times.
amped, babe.
Extremely amped. Just vibing, buzzing. Buzzing is the word. they
There's a
keep
lot of
saying.
lingo you learn too. All right,
I'm ready.
we didn't say what the
I'm ready.
percent was.
As someone who occasionally has to turn the subtitles on for Ted Lasso,
Oh yeah, no,
yeah,
you'll-
you got no
that's
Episode
chance.
one.
really
Yeah,
screwed.
turn it
That's really
on.
screwed.
Turn it on.
yeah.
I'm gonna say 5%. I'm gonna say 0. I think it really felt like he didn't realize it.
I'm gonna go 90 because everything LeBron does is deliberate.
I'm going to go 0% because he's really rich and famous. And I just assume they think you had the exact same day they did. Right? Like,
Yeah.
LeBron's like, so we all watched Squid Game last night, right?
Yeah.
Because who in
Right before
LeBron's
we put up a
circle is going to be
triple-double.
like, no, I didn't watch that. No, they'd be like, yeah, LeBron, I was there. I was totally there.
That's a great point.
Next topic.
All right, guys, it's our final topic. And we're going to do this on the fly. What are the chances that this tweet at Tallyfin sent us just now is accurate?
Wow,
Putting
look
down
at
the
this.
tweets.
Taking advantage of a live show.
Can't read it.
I can't read it. It's really fuzzy to me.
Is that looks like two ladies interviewing a guy on death row? I'll have you know, this orange is Dolly Parton. You can just see that. That's Dolly Parton. Who, if I were on death row, I would certainly be wearing Dolly Parton, but still.
Okay, important. Wait, let's keep the interview going. Spencer, first of all, what crime did you commit that landed you on death row?
Boat fraud. Boat fraud. It was serious
Wow.
boat fraud. Yeah.
There must have been some deaths involved to get you on.
No, it was
death
just
row.
really fraudulent.
Just really serious, expensive boats.
Yeah.
And what is your last meal today?
Oh, I love
Last
this
meal,
question.
we're Popeyes. Easy. We're just going,
No
Yeah.
wonder you said Phoenix had the same food as Chicago. And
Hey, I'm
Popeyes.
not-
Phoenix
I'm
has
not for-
everything.
every
That's a
food in
trash
Chicago.
palate.
Every food in Chicago is a dare. That's it. It's all dares. Nobody's called the bluff on.
Tell me you've never been to Chicago without actually telling me. You're just thinking about Malort.
Malort's great. I have no problem
Malort.
with Malort.
Punch your
The
mouth
last
in the
meal
balls.
question is always really interesting to me because you can approach it from so many different ways. One of the ways I always think when people posit that, I always ask myself, okay, well, you'd eat everything you want to eat that you don't allow yourself to eat, right? Because who cares at this point? You're in prison, you're about to die. But then I realize it might give me indigestion, and I don't want to die with indigestion. So
Why not?
I
You
just
can't
don't want
feel
to.
it?
I don't want to go out that way. No, in advance of it.
You're
you're-
feeling bad and about to die.
I don't want bubble guts in my last
you're probably,
moments.
I'm sure you poop yourself when you get.
We should not talk about this.
This got
This is
real
too dark.
dark.
This
By
is
the
too.
way,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I don't
It's
like
back!
This. I don't
It's
like this at all.
back!
Really quick though, on that percentage, the reason that I'd say no is because Mina looks like a professional reporter interviewing Spencer on death row, I'm a little confusing because I wouldn't wear this t-shirt if I were doing real television as opposed to this, whatever we're doing. So I look maybe like the sister person on death row who is also a part of the interview to talk about how I'm so sad about the boat fraud. Is there anything we can do last minute to save him? Also, am I in your will? And what does it say about me? And am I getting all of it, or is that bitch Tanya getting some?
I would say this. I would also really appreciate that you would take the event of my execution to rep women. I think that's great.
Of course.
That's
Listen,
it.
I'm just
Make
saying,
my execution a feminist event.
Far fewer women on death row, far fewer women committing boat fraud, I would imagine.
How did we get
So
here?
I think it's an appropriate choice for your death.
So I got the Eagles covering. If we want to wrap
Yeah.
it.
Wow. Good to know. Good to know.
Bucs straight up, but it was 6.5 last I saw, and I got a good feeling about Javon
Really?
Hargrave. Yeah.
Really? Oh, 6.5, and you've got them covering.
The injuries have me spooked, and it's Thursday. Stuff's weird on Thursdays.
Yeah, go Birds. Go Birds.
I'm gonna say the opposite. I look forward to besting Mina in a battle of football wits. I look forward to tomorrow being able to say I was right, you were wrong.
I'm out tomorrow, so that's gonna fall on deaf ears.
Too bad. How come I have to keep doing this show get to keep doing this show every day? Spencer, you back tomorrow?
If they ask, go Birds.
Spencer, it was nice knowing you. Try not to poop yourself.
Oh no, it's always a struggle, but I will.
Got pretty dark and weird.
On death row.
All right, guys,
You know.
I'm gonna pop out and go get ready for Around the Horn. Good to see y'all.
Bye, y'all.